Three. You're like,
Welcome, everybody, to this live stream of Facts on the Ground. I am joined, as always, by my trusty co-host, Misty Winston, and we are super psyched to have back on the show Jesse Jett. He's going to premiere some new pieces for us, and I don't think he needs any introduction beyond that. He's a musician, he's an activist, he's a writer, and his rhymes are fucking dope. You should check them out if you haven't already. So, Jesse, thank you so much for joining us again.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, this is the best.
I'm excited. Okay, so you kind of cheated this time, though, friend. You released the lyrics to, which I'm not blaming you for, but it's not as cool as when you just I'm like, we're the place, you know? No, I'm just
This
kidding.
one was different. This one I felt like was owed.
No, for sure. And it's really powerful. And I'm super excited about, because I mean, if anybody who's followed me for a while, this is something I've talked about, out loud before. It's a piece on food scarcity. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's not like we don't have historical reference for people in power using food scarcity as a weapon. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something we need to be mindful of. And that's why mutual aid is so important. And so I think it's a really timely and really important piece. And I'm really glad that you're going to do it live. That's,
it was a few days ago. Her name is Anna Mayers. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. A Mayers on Twitter. And she's been in chat several times. She's always shared a bunch of stuff and been really wonderful. And tagged me in a post and mentioned that she'd like to see me do something about a piece on food scarcity and the global food crisis. And it meant so much to me that someone asked for something like that. That was really exciting. And I wrote the first couple lines of this yesterday and then ended up writing a different piece. And then this morning I finished this. So I sent it and said, next time I get to be on Facts on the Ground, I'll make sure to do that. I didn't know that I'd get to do it later today, which is perfect.
Well, if you DM me and you're like, hey, I have a new thing, I'm going to be like, cool, well, let's figure out a time to do that. And at first we were just trying to figure out a time for the weekend. But that was kind of weird, not really working out. And then we just kind of found ourselves falling into the fact that nobody had anything really going on. Sleepy just happened to become available. And it just fell into place. So, I mean, that's always a good thing. I'll take advantage of that every time.
Yeah.
How rare is that?
I know.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool, just happenstance that this fell into place for everybody.
Yep,
so
it really did.
It's like a little gift.
It's
what day is it? Is it Wednesday?
It's like the little.
It is, yes.
Okay, so it's like a little hump day gift for everybody.
It's like the Ocasio-Cortez little Easter egg that's hidden in the bill.
Dude, that's such a good one.
Easter egg.
Good. That's good, Jesse. That was a good
one. Money for you.
Easter egg. You gotta find it, but it's there.
Right.
Has anybody found it? Has anybody found it? I'm just curious. Has anybody found an Easter egg ever?
No, I doubt she even read the bill.
Right.
Oh, you're gonna get me in so much trouble. Here we go.
Yep.
Anyway.
Ding, 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 ding.
No, are you kidding me? I'm
read the bill. I was there.
My DMs are shut off. If I don't follow you, you don't get to DM me. Are you kidding me? The people that follow me and hate stalk me? No. I don't even want to talk about it, but no. Anyway. So I mean, should we do it? I mean, that's kind of a heavy one to lead off with. I feel like we spent a whole lot of time blabbering about it.
When you compare it to the other one, this is the appetizer for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Let's kick off with that.
Let's do it.
So this I just finished 4 hours or whatever ago. This is called An Abundance of Scarcity. It starts with a few things missing at the store. A few things missing that you're likely to ignore. That didn't impact this trip or the one before, but it might impact the next 4. Or every time you try to every time you try to find provisions, that's going to be a rough one. Every time you try to find provisions between now and the forevermore. Between now and the day when your neighbors form a horde and show up with their forks and their torches, trying to force your pantry door. And you could give them double what you really can afford, but they'll all be back for more. Because your meager little crop is not enough to stop a war. It's not enough to stop a conflict. Not enough to stop our greed and primal needs from just erupting into one communal mosh pit. Because Uncle Sam will starve you just this side of fucking Auschwitz if it pleases Congress. If it pleases all the hawks so they can gas up all their bombers. And then devastate some other poor families far away and overseas because we illegally obtained their DNA and linked them to Osama. And when they send police to burn your gardens and your trees and they tell you you can't feed yourself, you just might get a visit from Obama. He can put his arm around you, maybe offer you a drink of ice-cold Flint water, or tell a little story about a hard-working immigrant who's here to live the dream and make a future for his daughter, who works the high-fructose corn syrup vats at the factories that forge our fodder. And he'll tell you what a slap in his face it would be to refuse the fruits of all of his labor just to live a little longer. He'll tell you how the spirit of America is carried by the people who would brave a little danger just to make the whole collective stronger. And he'll make it sound so sweet that you'll completely understand why he's the ruling class's fixer when they need a revolution conquered. So buy some stock in water and take a good long look at your local farmer's market, because soon the skies will darken, soon the crops will gray and only ash will be the harvest. They'll take EBT away from those it hits the hardest. And regardless of your talents, you'll all be starving artists. As locusts lounge around the empty carts and gather in the thicket, anywhere the dust is thickest. And all the signs have blown away, and anyway, there's nothing left to pick it. Because we unanimously voted to approve every one of Joe's decisions. Because we were far too weak to speak a whisper of resistance. And some were too blinded by their bright orange nightmare to look into the distance. Or look into the past and see Joe's plan to feed us all means eating all your meals in prison. That's the truth of profit over plenty in a capitalist system. If the harvest ends up in your hands or rotting in the trash, only profit makes the difference. Only money will decide if they neglect your children. Because hunger kills, so corporations found a way to see that hunger makes a killing. And the truth is hard to swallow, but it's plenty filling.
Very nice.
Sorry, that was touch and go for a while. That was the first time I've actually read through that, because like I said, I just wrote that a little while ago.
Yeah, but you just finished this. Like,
oh no, you don't understand.
I don't know why you're apologizing. This is like just I hate to say safe place, but like
it is. No, for sure. This is absolutely as safe a place as
we're a stigma free show.
Dude, I make a fool of myself on the regular, so it's fine. Like you can't, like there's nothing you can do.
One of the things I've been wanting to ask you, Jesse, particularly because
my cat is so annoying. I'm sorry. Is that loud?
But someone says like talking is usually my fantastic. We just lost connection.
I went to grad school for poetry, and I'm a writer by trade, which means that I'm a freelance writer and I get the projects I get. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that always sort of intrigued me about poems is that they don't end in the way that a story ends. They sort of just stop at a place where they need to stop, or the writer feels the poem needs to stop. And
there's the rub.
Yeah. And I'm wondering for you, like, when do you feel like you get to that point?
Oh, that's hard. That's the really hard part. And sometimes I feel like I shouldn't force the end, but when I don't, like the piece I'm about to read, I didn't intend for it to be this long, and I'm still planning on these turning into song lyrics, but this all of a sudden was 900 words by the time I felt like, okay, this is the stopping point. Because sometimes I stop, and if I'm still feeling creative, that line hangs in my head and repeats in my head, and then I hear every little thing I can spin off of that. I'm like, fuck, okay, now I gotta go back in, and that's how Hyacinth ended up as long as it did. And it's funny because then all of a sudden, like I can't imagine that not being what it is. Which, if you guys don't mind, I'll probably read again because I'd like to get to read it now that you have the lyrics in front of you.
Yes.
And Jesse, I want you to get to hear it like in the flesh. So so we'll do that one today too. But yeah, sometimes I hit that one line and I'm just like, oh my can't, that's it. That's absolutely it, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And when I do, I stop the piece. It's very rare that I'll come up with something else and try to pepper it into the middle, because I don't like doing that.
Right.
So yeah, the end, sometimes I want it to come because I'm like, I need to wrap this up. But if I still feel like I'm getting a point across and it still adds to the piece, I'm like, I guess this is just another long piece. So it's a good thing I'm doing a spoken word album, because otherwise, like I joked with Misty last week that these would be like Mars Volta songs or something that have to be like 20 to 30 minutes at a pop. Like,
Yeah.
Well, I think you're somebody that, like, you get on a roll, and if you get on a roll like that, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's just, some of those end up longer.
Because
That's okay.
really, and I don't think I mentioned it before, but right before quarantine, I had written a few songs, a couple of which are up on my Bandcamp, Post-War and Through the Nose. But those were the first things I'd written in a long time. I hadn't written songs or really poems in about 2 years. And it was one of those periods of time where I thought I wasn't writing because I was depressed, but I was depressed because I wasn't writing. And I didn't like the idea of forcing myself to do it, but a couple times that I did, it paid off. And then it took a while to get that going again. But I made a few songs, and then I just kind of sat on them for a while. And then once we went into quarantine, then all of a sudden I started writing new, but for all, you know, what was going on around us. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting too, the writing process. I was a vocalist and lyricist in, I guess you could say, like a hardcore punk band when I was in college, and we went on tour. I mean, we barely made a footprint, if even a toe print, but yeah, it was really interesting writing lyrics to songs. And then once that, I mean, that sort of came out of poetry for me. And then, you know, after I did my undergrad, it was a bunch of years until I went to grad school. And, you know, one of the things I read in that like long period of time before I went to grad school is like, if you can picture the ending of something you're creating before you finish it, then that's probably not the right ending.
yeah.
So I'm just curious, because, you know, you're a writer, you get this stuff. I'm just curious how you feel about that.
I get that. There are times recently where I've hoped for an ending to come sooner, and I'll keep writing lyrics, but I'm like, this just, sometimes the line I come up with opens up a whole new little avenue that I want to do more with, and that's fine. And I shouldn't by any means neglect a creative burst, because like I just mentioned, I went a long time without one, which I never thought I would. I think with current events being what they are now, I don't think like post-radicalization Jesse could stop, even if sometimes I wanted to, or if my wife would wish I could just like turn off my brain for a minute. So yeah, I try to just nurture those moments as much as I can.
Once you know, you can't unknow.
Exactly. And again, all these songs were kind of born out of that urgency of like, things were really going to shit really quickly, and here comes this pandemic. I'm like, why not start saying what I want to say? So all the more reason I feel like, you know, I might as well, if I've got it and it's ready to go. That's why, you know, I don't really have anything I'm promoting other than the piece I wrote yesterday. You know, it's like that's kind of where I'm at right now. And it's hard to stop writing those pieces enough to record something. It's one of those where all of a sudden I'm just accumulating, which is kind of how the virus happened. Next thing you know, I had an hour and a half. So that might be what this is. This might end up.
I kind of love that though.
You know,
I love that like form of releasing.
I was talking about a spoken word EP. We're way past EP at this point. Like we're way off the charts there. So yeah, I'm just kind of rolling with it right now. And again, that's why I appreciate this so much, being able to like, boom, okay, here's something that, granted, I just kind of rolled downhill reading that last one, but I wrote it today, and it's so cool to get to write something and then get to read it for especially like a live crowd. So thanks again, Sleepy. That was a really nice surprise.
Yeah, and I think, you know, when you write something, sometimes it'll take you, I mean, I've worked on poems for on and off for over a year until I felt like they were done. But sometimes you can write something in a day and you're like, you intuitively feel like that's it. That's what I was, that's what I wanted to get at. And I don't think there's any like prescribed time period in which,
for sure. You know, because again, I've labored over stuff before, and then there are times like I remember hearing an interview with Ben Gibbard from Death Cab for Cutie, and he was talking about the day that he wrote I Will Follow You Into the Dark, and that he got ready at his house, got in the car, goes to the studio, kind of writes that song in his head or whatever on the way. He gets there, fiddles around, and kind of came up with that song on the fly really early on. And they just recorded him playing it through the mics that were naturally set up in the studio. It was kind of a take 5 moment. And he starts fucking around with this piece, and they recorded it. And he said it was one of those that he wrote it, and when he was done, he was like, that's absolutely, you get that nice feeling that this is complete. And he was like, I literally went home and took the rest of the day off, because I was like, that I did it for the day. That was like, you know, doing your whole 40 hours in a day.
Feeling.
That's so nice when that happens. So there are times when it takes a long time to get to the end, but I never once feel like I'm filling that space with fluff. If a line feels like fluff, it doesn't go in. Usually I don't have to sort through a whole lot when I'm on kicks like this. It's just kind of all like, I get it out really quickly, and then I take a step back and look at it and read it for the first time and mess up. But
the language you use, it seems like there's a lot of attention put into it. Like you said, it's not fluff. It's not, you're not regurgitating cliches. It's
a bluntness. That's what I get about it. That's what I like about it.
But it's a bluntness with a vocabulary to it. And I don't mean that in like a snobbish way. I mean that in like, you know, there's intellect. There's intellect to what you're. That
did sound very academia.
There is
what you're either speaking or writing or singing about.
Yeah, a really good friend of mine said something that I've mentioned. Like, I have a few screenshots saved of like the nicest things that people have ever said to me about my music, and I recommend having those for days when you get the snarky comment or people are being shitty. Yeah, but sorry. So I just completely lost that.
I don't know.
That's all right.
Yeah. Who cares?
We've had a lot lost on here.
Yeah.
It's all gonna come back one day.
I'm sorry, that's what it was. A friend said that there was something he appreciated about Inauguration Gift, because he said it feels like it's appropriate for where I'm at in my life, and it doesn't talk down to me. And that was such a meaningful compliment. That's one of those things you don't expect you're not trying to hear from someone, but when someone says it, you like realize how impactful that is. And that was really huge. So that went in my little scrapbook of
nice things,
nice Twitter comments.
Yeah. And that's that sort of gets back to I think what we spoke about prior with regard to political emotion versus political proselytizing. Like when you listen to your music, it doesn't feel like you're preaching. It feels like these, I mean, it doesn't feel, they are these emotional expressions of.
I try not to feel like I'm talking down to people. That's the last thing I would want, is for to feel, like shaming someone for not knowing something.
No, I feel like it's very conversational. Like, look, this is what they're doing to you. It's not okay. This is not okay. You know, that's what it feels like. It feels like it's like a conversation, like somebody's talking to you and being like, come on, this isn't cool. This is not okay. This is not how things work or should work, you know?
Yeah. And I think the inflection, for lack of a better word, that you put into your music is spot on too. Like
I seriously want you to perform at a protest.
You hit the right points. As far as like going up in your register, for example. And I feel like you put a lot of attention I know you put a lot of attention into all of what you create, and I really appreciate that, because a lot of artists nowadays don't do that.
Thank you.
And I could name names, but I'm not going to go into that.
And again,
I've
that
enough
is,
drama in my life, Jesse.
I've said before that I do songs in one take, at least verses in the one take. And yeah, usually by the end of it, it's hard. I have to remind myself to start at a lower keel, because there are songs that I want to start and I'm already in what my wife calls my angry high voice. But it's true. As I get mad, my voice, that register goes up and up, and it's just a natural direction I'm going to go, and I couldn't write these songs and not. And if I did, I feel like it wouldn't have nearly the emotional impact that it does. I kind of made that decision really early on that I didn't have a choice of whether I got emotional or not. So it's like, do I want to try to do this until I'm dead inside and I don't feel anything about the piece anymore? And that's an obvious no. So, so I like that. Like with that song Through the Eyes on the Virus, that, the crying in the background, that was literally the first time I went in to try to record the vocals, and I just listened through the track and read the lyrics and prepared myself to go through them, and I just fucking lost it. And sometimes it doesn't hit you because you're in that kind of writer's mode, and then you get to objectively look back at a finished piece, and it's so different than looking at it when you still kind of got the eraser in your hand,
Yeah.
Exactly. And
saying it out loud for the first time usually gets me. That's what usually like saying it, because then it's like then it's like real. It's like this it's a thing that's like out in the universe.
Yep. It's like, your turn to read your letter at the intervention. It is. It's just and some of those songs I don't have that happen, and I think I'm good, and then it sneaks up on me at the very end, and it's nice because the last thing I would want to do is bury that moment or redo that take. If that happens, that's the one, by all means. That's when I step away, and I'm like, it's way easier ending the recording process than the writing process, because sometimes there's a take and you're like, that's it, and you don't go, well, maybe I should keep recording. But with writing, obviously, you can just be the endless revisionist and drive yourself nuts, which I try to give myself a hard stop, because I used to just pick apart and want to edit, and then I felt like I was cheating somehow. So I had to make myself give that up. So if not, I couldn't keep up with the pace I've set for myself now, that I want to keep at some extent writing at and releasing material at.
Do you revise at all at this point, or is it just like one take, Jake?
A couple times, and usually I kick myself when I don't, because there have been a couple moments that I'll listen to a song and realize, like, oh, that one word should be this other word. That's not what I intended to put there, but I didn't fix it in my lyrics and I read it. It's like, he'll read whatever you put on the teleprompter in front of him. It's like, if I don't fix it in the lyrics before I record, it'll just make its way into the song. So yeah, there have been times when that's absolutely like, that just kind of hits me when I least expect it.
Yeah, because I am, I suppose, the consummate revisionist. I'll write drafts and drafts of something until I feel like it's where it needs to be, and oftentimes it's not where it needs to be, even though I've written many drafts. But
I've had a couple pieces that were like that I really fought with for a long time. Convention, that first real song on Inauguration Gift that uses Biden's speech and the whisper, that song went through a lot of changes and edits, and I'm again really happy with the finished product, but a lot of times I don't spend nearly that much time on it. So it's interesting to all of a sudden spend more time with the song, and like obviously I have a different kind of connection with that song because of it.
Yeah. I just think it's interesting because I know there are writers who can, singer, songwriters, writers who can do what you do or write the way you do, where it sort of flows out, and maybe you make a revision here or there, but it's pretty much the essence of what it.
I'm a mix of the two of you. When I write like poetry, I'm very much Jesse. It really just because I think it's like an emotional wave, and so it really just comes out. It's like it's like emotional diarrhea, you know what I mean, on the page.
Yeah.
And then, but when I'm writing like an essay or a story or whatever, anything longer form, I obsess over it. like obsess over it, and I like reread it, and then it's bad. Like, and I very rarely do I ever really ever finish anything like that, because I usually just end up getting really frustrated and convincing myself I'm terrible and giving up. And I have like a whole bunch of stuff that's like, you know, at various stages of completion.
Now,
do you hear her?
I do.
Yes.
One thing I took an inordinately long time with. I really like reading aloud, if that wasn't obvious. And my wife, I used to read to her an awful lot more than I get to now. When she was pregnant and when we first had our son, I was reading her the novel of Jaws, and we finished it. And it's, if you've never read Jaws, it's vastly different than the movie.
Yes.
And
Ellen Brody has an affair with Hooper.
Yes. Okay, so all of a sudden there's all this love triangle stuff. Spoiler alert, gang. There's all this love triangle stuff going on, and it's just, you end up just kind of wanting more shark. At least not, you know, that's where we were. You kind of go into it really thinking you're gonna get some shark, and there's such minimal shark. Right. And so when we finished the book, my wife was like, you know, what'd be great would be if you could write me like just kind of a more sharky version of that. Could you do that for me? And I was like, so you want shark porn is what you're asking for. You want just the most graphic, just shark fucking carnage, you know? And so I did. I wrote like 10 chapters of a book I called Predominant that I just read for her. That was just me writing a little shark novel that I'm absolutely going to clean up and just put on like Substack or whatever it is one day, or on Medium, and just be like, here's my shark novel, everyone.
That's amazing.
Because it's ridiculous. Just so many moments when a shark shouldn't, like, I don't want to say I go full Sharknado, at least not until maybe chapter 8, because there are moments where it's like, well,
I would like to read that actually.
Do we want believability or do we want more shark? Obviously, the answer is going to be more shark.
We want more shark. Yeah. I could be down with that. I want to read that. Yeah. Okay. I like
if
shark.
Anything, after all this, I owe everybody a little levity, you know?
Yeah.
That's true. It's good to laugh sometimes.
In the form of shark carnage.
Shark porn.
Take your mind off how shitty things really are with this graphic shark novel.
When you said shark porn, I was like, yes.
Graphic novel.
Yes. That's exactly what it is. Because I want some shark. That's how,
yeah,
you know, sharks
but
are cool.
the way Steven Spielberg interpreted the novel, and Peter Benchley's in the movie. By the way, he's like the news commentator on the beach, sort of a little before midway through, I would say. But my first interaction was seeing the movie and then reading the novel somehow at like 8 or 9 years old, and you know, I would have to read it again to fully understand it. But the one thing, as I mentioned before, that stood out to me was Ellen Brody and Hooper having an affair, and I was like,
mind blowing.
I remember reading that and was like, this did not happen in the movie,
right?
like
Scandalous.
Like the movie came first and the book came second. I was like, this is not right. This is not right.
That's funny. That's so true though. If you see a movie before you read the book and then you read the book, it's like it's a really fucked up experience actually.
That's not right.
Weird.
No, you did it wrong.
Yeah, it's a little weird. It's a little weird to do it that way. It really is.
Yeah.
It kind of messes with me. I get that. Totally. All right. So
we've had our fun
lyrics.
I did. I just in a DM to both of you sent you the last one and then this one. This is American Heritage, which I am 90% sure this is going to be a song. I have a piece of music in mind for it that I'm really excited about that I want to use. And I've got enough pieces for the spoken word album. I really need to get some acoustic things done too. And I toyed with the idea the other day of just combining them all and having an album that was kind of split, just acoustic songs and some spoken word. But I really like the idea of two separate things. I really want to have just one whole spoken word album.
Yeah, I get that.
And crowdsource moment. I'm torn between literally just my voice on spoken word or having some little ambient, like when you're listening to a meditation for sleep kind of guided thing, like not a whole lot, but I go back and forth. If I do it, I want to do it on everything. If I don't, I want it to all be, to just kind of flow one into another. So yeah, I don't know. That's still that's one I'm not sure of, and I welcome people's suggestions. If anyone that would want to listen to the finished product, if you'd rather hear it one way or another, then by all means, let me know.
Yeah, I'll have to ponder that. Now I'm thinking about it. See, now you have me thinking about it.
And Jesse, you got these as well?
Yeah,
for, American Heritage. Okay.
I just lost my Zoom screen though. Hold on a second. I am not.
Are you good?
Technologically.
Oh, balls. What kind of technical difficulties are we going to have here? Oh, here we go. Okay.
If you need to go to tile view, there should be like 4 little squares in the bottom right to go back to tile view.
Sleepy, I'm on a page that says waiting for the host to start this meeting, which is
I think you went you must have hit back and went to the Salon News Day one or the Assange one or something. You're already in here. It's weird. Did you just open
that's weird.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
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 That's weird.
You can
what
pop
do you
out
suggest
and
I
pop back in.
Follow the sound of my voice.
Don't go toward the light, Jason.
No, I was trying to split the screen so I could read the lyrics, and then I'm an old man now.
Or something, or it might have popped it out into a different window. There's 2 windows open.
What if I just sign out and then pop back in?
Yeah,
try it.
Okay.
We're doing it live.
All right.
Cool.
I need that clip of Bill O'Reilly screaming that to have on cue, like a morning, like shock jock or something. If you want to have a little soundboard, we're doing it.
Do you have a Russiagate song? Do you have a Russiagate something?
I have a few things I've mentioned, but I don't think anything where I've gone full Russiagate. No.
Okay, so can I make a suggestion? You should 100% get the clip of Keith Olbermann doing the "We are at war with Russia" that thing, and you should sample that.
Oh my god!
Is that
man,
amazing?
Between him and just any random 20 seconds of Rachel Maddow, there's enough.
Yes. That would be, because that's like one of my favorite clips of all time.
Oh,
he's a maniac.
Yeah,
he's like in his poor man's studio, and he's like Donald John Trump.
Also, there's a video of Morgan Freeman. Have you guys seen the Morgan Freeman video?
Yeah.
It broke my heart because I really like him as an actor. Mm-hmm. He's really quite talented. But and I don't watch a lot of movies, but he's like the movies I've seen him in, you can tell he's just a really good actor. But that video he did, oh my God, so painfully embarrassing. I was cringing the whole time, like, oh, he's really saying that. Mm-hmm. Oh, stop it.
I haven't seen that. What was that?
You haven't seen it? Oh, he talks about how Russia's this threat and they're threatening our democracy and they're attacking our country and oh, it's so the propaganda is thick. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is it's almost like parody because it's layered on.
And and using him is just such a dirty blow to everybody because people are such suckers for Morgan Freeman's voice and they'll just totally go for it. Just
I wish I could do his voice,
right?
Russia.
He's you have to. I wish I don't know if we should.
One day we'll do a stream that's just like our best and worst impressions.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't do impressions because I know I cannot do impressions.
I try to do a Jerry Seinfeld all the time that my wife says sounds like the one guy from Ancient Aliens instead. What's the deal with alien technology? How did it get there?
I can do Al Pacino pretty good.
Oh, hit me.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh my God.
What does he say
on the soundboard too?
What does he say in Heat?
Sorry.
He's like the guy's like, I'm gonna get killed. He's like, you get killed walking your doggy.
I love when the she's got a great ass. You know what I mean?
She's got a great ass.
Yeah, that's such and that like being able to use that as a gift because it's just a great moment. It's just one of my favorites. It really is. And it's great.
That
makes me giggle every time. Every damn time.
That one scene where they like Al Pacino and his cop crew, they go to like the loading dock yard or whatever, and I think it's Robert De Niro's character. He's up on a crane, like they can't see him, and he's looking down through binoculars. And they were like expecting to like bust him or something, and he's like Al Pacino's like looking around. He's like, "Okay, motherfucker." It's like,
oh god, that's so good. Oh man,
ridiculous. Where did this live stream? How did we get on that?
This is the first for us. It's a roller coaster because now we're plummeting. Like now we're just coming from this really nice Pacino high.
I'm very sorry about this emotional roller coaster, everybody.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's what we're here for. Well, see, listen, we got to tear you down and then build you back up.
Yep, exactly.
We'll just do that, okay?
Okay.
Everybody needs a good dose of Pacino.
All right. Are we ready? See, now I'm all giggly and I feel like I'm like in an inappropriate mood for this. You know what I mean? All right. Oh, goodness sakes.
Okay.
This next song's called Al Pacino.
Yeah, right.
We totally lost the plot, fam.
We're allowed to have fun once in a while. We've had some really somber streams.
You guys, people they get mad because we giggle and like sometimes we'll get mad at us when we like joke around on the vigils, and I'm like, you really? Oh, we are talking about like the torture of journalists and war crimes and black sites and it's a whole thing and it sucks, and I don't want to think about that stuff all the time. And so if I don't fucking laugh every once in a while, I may lose my entire mind. And so, yes, I have a lot of dark humor and we survive on a little bit of gallows humor, and that's okay. All right. Just shut the fuck up. Seriously.
How dare you have a sense of humor?
How dare you laugh so that you don't like just freak the fuck out because everything around you is hopeless.
So I would like to guarantee
coping human being bastard.
Anyone who's at that point right now when it's like, this is awfully fun, they're having too much fun, halfway through this they'll be wanting the fun back if they were feeling that before.
You really know how to bring mood down, Jesse.
I do. It's my superpower.
I'm not taking you to any parties ever. Ever. You can come to protest.
Well, actually, at parties,
no party for you.
Politics, I'm a blast. If you make me talk politics, then it's going to get sad real fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can come to protest. You are always welcome at a protest. So your anger is definitely welcome there.
It'll be the three of us in a corner at a party just talking politics and like drinking beers and whatever.
That's usually
and no one will mind until we laugh and we'll all get glared at.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This is American Heritage. Lights raised on a table of senators inking a sale of arms, slipping in footnotes, funding incentives to put those crops in the garbage and pay the farms. And in bursts a mother with babe in arms, who can't pay rent or a grocery bill with her faith or charm. They tell her, save your charms, save the sob story for those who can help you. Our hands are tied to the puppet strings, lifting our arms. And this is the crop we reap when we vote on the promise of peaceful sleep and a reduction of harm. These are the promises gone into hiding when Biden decides to walk back a reduction of arms. We are the people left shouting on mute because we dared to sound the alarm. We tried decrying a crisis of homelessness. Hundreds of people who used to be homeowners buying the farm. Biden was too busy patting us all on the back over shots in arms. We are the cattle they'll put out to pasture or lock in the barn, burn to collect the insurance, and then they'll just carry on. Now we can be sheep or be carry on. We can be meek or be clarion, haunting the ground we were buried on. We make the sound of the great beyond, echoing back to the chamber where all of those tireless senators stayed till dawn. Drafting provisions improving the living conditions of only constituents riding this crisis out down in their summer house sipping on Avion. I follow a man named Jatavion. He got pulled over and he made it home, but knew it was almost the day that we don't want to come, but we all know will come and we're all sort of waiting on. The day that they snuff out your flame and explain they mistakenly thought that the safety was on. Half asleep and half mass hysteria. And back at the table, the senators label the final draft Project Valerian with the subtle approach of a botched cesarean. Dressed in the suits that their hideous final forms were born in and will likely be buried in. Close your eyes, eat your news, chew your Valerian. 2024, you'll be voting for either the Kamala bot or an outright Aryan. And they'll warn you democracy's up in the air again. But how many men will we see by then with an officer knelt on their neck while they're gasping for air again? And the pig on their back is a dog of the state whose purpose is just to attack, and he knows that fact, and it makes him invincibly arrogant. Rabid as all of the fascists you train in your barracks and garrisons. Timeless indeed, like the Christian need to dehumanize those that they view as beneath them. Same old song that we sang to the Saracen. And you were today years old when you learned that for all this time, we were the actual terrorists. We were the source of those flawlessly crafted disparaging narratives. We've sent presidents here and abroad into absolute power or off to meet God to arrange all these corporate marriages. I was mistaken to call it tradition. This is American heritage. This is the land where they lighten your language, pick apart all of your paragraphs, gut every lyric of leverage. Smaller than all of those flecks of Valerian they sent adrift in your beverage. Every word I write that tries shedding some light on the pig they portray as a presidential paragon. Each word I write regarding Biden, he whose sable arms, blacker than the purpose of the warships in the naval yard, orchestrate our fate to try to sate the thirst of Raytheon. Blacker than the water that we used to flood Iraq and trickled into Libya so Hillary could open up a nice global slave bazaar that we'll return to sack and pat ourselves all on the back because we liberated Libya. The slaves are gone. But what we didn't know until today was that all of the slaves they said we saved are really on a plane and they're halfway to Gitmo. We interrupt the story due to Kamala arriving in her limo with her Timbs on, and that's all your need to know info. This is a historic day, and you can say you saw it with the last of all your energy because you were busy starving. Staring at the roast that the senators were carving, to celebrate a bill that faced no opposition in Congress, to cut back your heat and your lights at a time when the nights are their longest. And if you don't know the tune that they sing by name, after the grave, the Saracen can tell you what the song is. They'll tell you that it's loudest where the smell of the Valerian is strongest, where they turn around and make an arms deal after promising an armistice, where the workers get the wall and the scabs solve stoppages. Take it up with Congress in their fortified offices, blocked by riot cops who'd love to stand on your esophagus, because that's what they've been training for and told equates to competence. You brought it on yourself by refusing your Valerian. You brought it on yourself when you hesitated giving us your child for experiments. You brought it on yourself by denying your family exposure to all our new variants. You brought it on yourselves. It's American heritage. You brought it on yourselves. It's American heritage. Hooah!
That's really heavy.
Yeah, sorry.
That's so true.
Yep.
I mean,
that was one I wanted to stop
true.
halfway through, and then I couldn't. I was really mad yesterday.
Yeah, but it's so true. I mean, cops are, yes. God damn it, Jesse.
Yep. And when I say Kamala bot, that could really mean Kamala or Buttigieg.
Or I call him, my name for him is Boy Wonderscoop.
Yes,
he's
exactly.
Boy Wonderscoop.
Yep.
That's his name.
The same programming.
Yeah. He is very creepy to me.
Yeah.
Kamala, I mean, come on, you guys. That laugh, that's
the hostage laugh. I'm sorry. That's such a...
That's a tell.
That comes out of the strangest moments.
Yes. That's because she's...
At the least, it's nervousness because she doesn't know the answer or she's embarrassed to say the truth.
There's a little bit of that too.
The worst, it's just sadistic. It's just her not being able to, honestly, I really...
But they're all kind of psychopaths.
K-Hive telling me I'm a pedophile or something. Whatever they do.
They're so awful. Anyway, yeah, like this is...
Sorry, I said a whole bunch of stuff and you couldn't hear me because I was on mute.
Oh, no!
Oh.
All right, rewind.
No, I said that Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has the cackle of Cruella de Vil.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's interesting to say the least. Yeah.
But Jesse, one of the things I wanted to ask you about the last piece is that you repeat Valerian several times, and I'm wondering what that's about. I mean, I know what Valerian is. I'm just I'm just curious why.
The first time that I used that was the Project Valerian line, and which I thought was obviously a great tongue-in-cheek thing for these leaders to call a bill or whatever they've been working on with that kind of cutesy name of, obviously this is intended to just put you at ease, lull you to sleep. And then I know once I kept on with that, I definitely give it a little bit more power than it has, but I think it kind of just shifts into a euphemism for that acceptance, especially the close your eyes, eat your news to your Valerian. Just anything that inspires you to be that passive
complacency.
That's exactly so a pacifier as much as a tranquilizer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They don't want people to pay attention, and they don't want you to question anything. And so you're not there. If anybody ever tells you can't talk about something, you should be immediately suspicious of that. I get really angry about stuff like that. And especially when, listen, are there legitimate, cuckoo brain conspiracy theories that are thrown around all the time? Of course. Like, there are some people who are, just have some strange beliefs, and not everybody can be onto everything all the time, I guess.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things that there are legitimate questions about that you're not allowed to talk about ever. And if you mention it, it's like, oh my God, if I mention anything, I'm going to get blown up, but I don't even care. Like, if you talk about Seth Rich, like, listen, I'm a true crime nerd. This is an unsolved murder of, relatively well-to-do white kid in a good neighborhood in DC who got shot 4 times, and they said it was a botched robbery. I'm just curious about that. Why can't I be curious about that? Why can't I ask questions about that? I'm not saying that there's
nothing was taken from him.
Right. There's nothing was taken. It's a good neighborhood. It's a very weird thing. And you calling me a conspiracy theory because I have questions about that? Grow up, dude. Of course I'm curious about that.
Yep.
That's interesting to me. I like that. That makes me curious. That's like, well, what happened? Like, I want to know. It's weird that you don't want to know. To me.
Yeah.
Also the stigma that's put on the word conspiracy is just totally overblown.
That's
intentional
too.
That's one of my favorite George Carlin things. He said, the word conspiracy theorist, that gets hit at you as though the people that have power don't have a plan to stay in power or to make sure that they don't lose that power. Right. That's such a ridiculous assumption that they're just hoping that every day, like, oh, this is still really working out for us,
Yeah. Yeah, and
doesn't just magically happen to us.
And at worst, it's an idiotic assumption that the people in power are looking out for your best interests. So why are you?
I love when people are like, "What do you do? Think that like these people sit around in meetings?" And yes, what do you think the board meetings of any major corporation? What do you think that is? That is exactly what that is. They're sitting around making decisions.
Those about, nothing will fundamentally change speeches.
Right. They're the ones making the decisions for you, and you're mocking me for stating the obvious. That's what that is. Those are the meetings that those people go to and talk about how they're going to fuck you over.
Yep.
Hey, Misty,
that's what that is, Bam.
Misty,
please learn to come to grips with that.
Misty, pull your mic back a tiny bit. You're getting a little bit of echo, I think.
It might be because my phone's here too. I'm sorry.
Towards you a little bit.
Towards me?
Yeah, I think it's picking up your computer sound a little bit.
Okay.
And
sorry.
I'd mute when he's doing the song.
Huh?
I'd mute when he's doing the song.
Okay.
There won't be no echo or nothing.
Does my mic sound
are you ready
okay?
for this?
Yeah, you've got headphones on. You're fine. You're fine, Jess. You got headphones on.
Okay.
Yeah, headphones are always better. Is it better now, Sleepy?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
So this will be a fun one. I've never done this acoustic before.
Are you doing what I think you're doing?
No, not yet.
Oh. Okay.
This is actually, this song is my pinned tweet because it was nice when I put this out to see how many people were just as fed up with the squad and that whole concept and all their platitudes and bullshit. Not the least of which were you guys, but yeah, this is an acoustic stab at hashtag squad goals, because we haven't criticized them enough tonight to really stir the pot. So why not? Let's just. Fate demanded I be singer of a new ballad about the candidate you wanted, like a finger in your fruit salad. But we're made to choke down, and never mind he didn't have supporters on the ground. Never mind a website that gave volunteers the runaround, and a platform, a policy that followed Biden's lead and didn't make a fucking sound. And then he takes the crown. Now that's ascension into power by immaculate election, because no one really wanted it and no one should have trusted it. But don't you try to question it, because Joe is not a fan of questions. But Joe is a fan of pointing fingers right in people's faces. Or if they're not in public spaces, Joe will try to point a finger everywhere I wouldn't mention, because Joe's soul is molded and beholden more to power than the list of fucking speakers at the DNC convention, who gave us all a show of keeping AOC at bay, just so everyone can say they tried to censor her dissension. But if you still believe the progressives we've elected give a shit if we're protected, there's a bridge I'd like to sell you in a parallel dimension. God, you know they're just tech savvier with media relations, propagandist Instagram and public obfuscation. Better suited to assure you that they're here to have a conversation. They're better suited to assure you they aren't actively supporting your eviction and your slide into starvation. Better suited to assure you they can tweet about your needs and offer hope and motivation while you drift into the weeds. But they partnered with the moccasins and gators and the reeds, and they'll damn sure get a portion of our meat. So, love me or leave me or mislead me to decree. Honey, you don't want to hear it, so I'll try to say it sweet. The squad are not your buddies, they are simply more discreet. The GOP will kill you on your feet. Dems and fake progressives do it in your sleep. Anyone can recognize a nation's needs and put it in a tweet. Coming from a leader in a seat of power really shows they know they're obsolete. Nah, GOP will kill you on your feet. Dems and fake progressives do it in your sleep. The squad are not your buddies, they are simply more discreet.
You're just trying to get me in trouble.
I was about to say, Misty, you're locked and loaded. If you want to go, you.
You're just trying to get me in trouble. You know how much they'd love to come for me over this.
I mean, that says everything about them.
Yeah, it really does. I don't know why I get so much shit for it. Like, I get you want somebody to believe in, but
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, well, come on.
It's so much easier. You can tell the people that believe it, because that means it's going on outside their house and not inside their home. You know, if it doesn't affect you, you can see those platitudes and take them at face value, and that's enough to keep you satisfied until the next election and the next election. And it's not. It doesn't just feed people. It doesn't give people Medicare. It doesn't give them housing. It's bullshit.
Well, and just listen to her recently on Israel.
Oh, I know. God, that was atrocious.
Awful. And
that was a whole new level of word salad. Like,
yeah, and man, she retweeted it herself.
Did Biden write this for you? Like, what the fuck?
Oh my God. And now apparently she's meeting with Israel to like get their technology to help boost the Green New Deal. Are you kidding me?
Like, no, you're not.
Yes, she is. She's gonna go. Like, that's a thing. And what is happening?
Like, what technology? The Iron Dome.
I don't know.
The Iron Dome is like, it's lauded as this amazing feat of defensive technology. It's actually very inaccurate, and it does not intercept a lot of the rockets that come in from Gaza, which are being fired in because Israeli warplanes are bombing Gaza. But that's not the narrative we get.
I'm telling you guys, I don't know why people can't see it at this point.
I mean, if you have a mechanism like that, which is pretty massive and it's ineffective. I mean, I don't understand how you square that with a Green New Deal, but
yeah,
you know, seems like AOC's career is trying to circle the square or whatever.
But I'm the asshole. She's gonna go meet with like some like an apartheid state, but I'm the asshole. Okay.
Yeah. She's gonna go to Ariel Sharon's grave and weep with her mask on, and then do a photo op.
Oh, it's such a weird timeline. Hate it.
Yeah.
So dumb.
But I think a lot of us saw it like pretty early on that.
Yeah, we talked to
Sabrina. Yeah,
and her husband. She said her husband was right on top of it. I was pretty quick. Like I've admitted. Like everybody gets mad at me and says I've like always hated her. I donated to her. Not much, but I donated to her. Like I was cautiously optimistic. This was before I decided to like give it up entirely, because 2018 was it. Like I was barely hanging on by a thread. 2018 was really it for me. And yeah, so I don't know. Like it was pretty quick though. I would say like by the time she was making comments about John McCain being like an example of human decency, I was over it.
Yep.
I was over it.
It started for me earlier than that. I think
me too, but that was I think that was where I was like really like, okay, really?
That interview I've mentioned before, the PBS interview, where she just like, not only walked back her previous stances on Palestine, but she just like she didn't have an intelligent.
Is that the "I'm not an expert on these things" interview?
Yeah, and Margaret Hoover was the interviewer, and she was asking fair questions. It wasn't like she was like AOC was put on the spot. Or
what I find disgusting about it is that I know she knows, like she was playing dumb. Like I know she knows the answers to those questions. She just didn't want to answer them, and so she played dumb and cutesy. To try to get out of it. Like I'm just a young, like first time congresswoman. I don't want to answer this question. So I'm going to giggle and laugh like, and that it was because I know she knows. She's incredibly intelligent. Doesn't she have like a degree in foreign relations?
Well, that's
or something like that.
I mean, that's the rub of the whole piece, besides her just, throwing Palestinians to the wind. She says, I'm not the expert on geopolitics here. She has a degree from Boston University in international relations.
That's what it is.
One would think that you'd have at least a minor grasp of geopolitics.
And she ran on speaking out for Palestine, not entirely, but that was part of her rhetoric. So the fact that she's been walking that back is really gross.
And the reason that was like the turning point for me is because Obama did the same thing. He was very outspoken about Palestinian rights. Ali Abu Nima at Electronic Intifada has written about this a lot.
I think he just wrote a piece on AOC recently.
Yeah, but he's written about Obama as well, how when Obama was running for president, he, at least early on, had a very pro-Palestinian aspect to his platform. And then, as soon as he got elected, all that went out the window. And so I could see her doing that and just kind of following the same template. And
she reminds me a lot of Obama.
Yeah.
She has a lot of those same, like she's really good at talking a lot, but saying absolutely nothing. I mean, her Israel answer the other day, like proves that she said a lot of words.
Yeah.
But nothing. There was nothing.
Yeah.
I think she did kind of say that settlements are sort of bad. Maybe she kind of.
They're sort of illegal.
But the what and the who and the why and the where.
The people are already there. We can't make them leave, even though they stole the land.
That would be mean. I mean, they're there. That would be really disruptive.
Yeah. Whoever heard of forcing people off of their land over there, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, she but she is really good. She is really talented in that way. And she's, I wouldn't say she's as gifted as a speaker. She's not nearly as convincing. She is a bit of an overactor. But she does remind me of Obama a little bit, for sure.
Yeah. It's a lot of platitudes that, like you said, Misty, they don't say much of anything at all. No. And it's kind of like she was what they were like maybe hoping that Kamala could have been, because they really need somebody who is that talented. Because Obama, I mean, look at all the really horrible things that Obama was able to do, and really nobody said much about it. Even Republicans, although they gave him a lot of shit, it was performative, at least in, you know, the actual in Congress. Like that was all performative. That's what they do. They play off of each other. But even like just regular Republicans, like out in public, they talked a lot of shit, but it was not a big deal. No. It was just like he slid through 8 years of fucking everybody over, and nobody really did much about it. Yeah. So, and that's just going to be a continuation. Like it's still funny to me that people are trying to pretend like there's any like substantive difference between the two parties. Like, are you serious? Look at Joe Biden. Are you telling me that he's really different than Trump? Are you really trying to tell me that? Are you really? He has the same cages. There are like a quadruple the amount, probably maybe more, of the kids that are in these cages. They're like all over capacity. It's horrific conditions. And you're going to tell me that he's better than Trump? And look at what's happening in Minneapolis. There's tanks. They're shooting people from tanks and like behind fences. They're still murdering Black men for no reason. Like, oh, I thought that was my taser. Are you fucking kidding me? And
like, murdering kids. I mean, what, 2 in the last 2 weeks? Like,
God, it's so frustrating.
You're a trained police officer, and you can't feel the difference between your taser and your handgun. I don't.
And you're like a 26-year veteran. Fuck off.
Yeah,
bullshit.
and that's what's so frustrating is that right away, not only does the police representative come out and immediately like, okay, these are the same people that are supposed to be conducting their own investigation into the matter, and they're like, just so you know, before we kick off this investigation, probably an accident. It's really nothing to worry about, Right. And again, that's like, and that's what the news publishes. They don't immediately, they can start just kind of downplaying this and going, well, they said it was an accident. How do accidents happen? And even the thing on Twitter, the headline, the way they phrase it is, how could a police officer mistake their taser for their gun, or their gun for their taser? And that headline doesn't mean that the article is actually asking how the fuck could that happen? What a sorry excuse. It's going to explain to you how that could happen. They get mixed up. It's been a hard day, and just everything they can do to kind of just pad their excuses for them and run PR for them. Yeah.
But they'll also bring up everything in the past of the victim. Oh, well, in 4th grade, he jaywalked and kicked his teacher in the shin. And, they'll draw any little thing. It's amazing. I remember, because I am a true crime nerd, I remember when the Chris Watts thing happened, and the pictures that they were showing of this dude who just annihilated his entire fucking family, his pregnant wife, 2 daughters. And the pictures they were showing on the news were like this, like stage, like family photo shoot. Like everybody's in matching clothes, and there's like a beautiful sunset coming behind them, and it's all like happy family. Are you kidding me? If that had been a Black man, you think that's a picture they would have shown?
Exactly.
Absolutely not. They would have chosen a mugshot or who knows what the fuck else. And he would have been dragged through the mud. And
be like, no, we need one of him in a hoodie.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we find one of him holding a gun? Like, can we do that? Like some jackass conservative. I don't know his name because I don't follow conservatives.
Oh, I know. It was just some
ex-conservative. Yeah.
Do we have one of him? Do they have one of him holding a gat?
Yeah. But this is like, this guy like picture of holding himself like holding a gun or something, and he has, I don't even know. it's so amazing, like the level of hypocrisy.
Yeah, it's a total gun enthusiast who's like, here's my gun in my car, here's my 4 in my sock drawer.
But
by
then
the way, that guy owned a
gun
gun and once took a picture with a gun. That's pretty much reason that he should get. Yeah,
they did it with the guy who's in the army too, who was in the military in uniform. They're like, oh, he had a loaded gun like on the seat, and I'm like, yeah, he's allowed to have that.
Yeah,
he's first of all, there's some law where military are allowed to carry, like open carry in all 50 states. Like it doesn't matter what the state
and the state he was in,
and then the state he was in is also open carry. So why are we even having this conversation?
And it's like, man, I'm sorry, don't you guys usually want your soldiers to be well trained and like know how to use a fucking firearm?
What's curious to me is where are all the Second Amendment people when it's a black man?
Exactly.
Where are they all at? I mean, I don't ever hear them coming to their defense on those things ever. Where's that? I was going to
racism
is gone, you guys. We defeated racism.
I was going to do another song that was kind of off topic, but now I'm right back to worked up. So I just sent you guys Hyacinth. I'm reading Hyacinth again.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think I already had that, but yeah, I need to print all these off, to be honest with you, because I would like to like highlight parts. So I'm such a nerd.
Yeah, this one I do almost wish we could do like an intermission without throwing off the flow because it's terribly long. But yeah, this was the one that really just got out of hand, and I kept going and going and going. And it was the first thing I'd written after Autopilot. It was about a week after. And you remember when I wrote Autopilot, I was like, I think this might be the best piece of material of mine to date. And then I wrote this, and I feel like this blows Autopilot out of the water. Like, I feel like this and Conviction are my two
I'm always going to have
this on Broad Matters. Conviction, like I said, is for me, I tend to jump around a lot, and I was so proud of myself for having a message I wanted to get across and staying on focus. And I do feel like, I mean, obviously the feedback I've gotten, not only like from having Stella retweet it to Juan Passarelli reaching out to me, is just that's so overwhelming. I can't even.
That makes me so excited. Like I get really excited about that.
Yay! But yeah, this.
Oh, by the way, there's a new. Can I interrupt you for 1 second? There's a new Assange group, and you guys should go follow it.
Yeah,
I tweeted about it. Go follow them. Like I'm trying to get. So it's exciting. There's like some new Assange groups popping up. Which is exactly what we wanted when we started Action for Assange, like a totally decentralized, like pop up your own thing. We don't care what you do, like just try to keep it, focused on the goal. But yeah, like that's what we wanted. That's what we wanted, and it's happening, and it's so cool. And so there's these little groups popping up. So please, if you see a new Assange group pop up, go follow them. It's a good deal.
Do you have any anyone to recommend?
I do. Hold on, I'll look them up because I don't want to get it wrong. There's a bunch of them. Like if you there's a bunch of Assange groups, but the new one is, I was trying to get them to 100. They may already be there because I tweeted it a little bit ago. Oh, okay, here it is. Oh, so it's Tulsa. Okay, so at Tulsa 4A on Twitter. And there are 82 followers. So they need 18 more to get to 100. That's what I wanted to do today. So go do that. That would be awesome.
Is it Tulsa and then the number 4?
Yes, Tulsa number 4A. Okay. Yes.
Cool.
So everybody go follow them. Like, let's get these little groups boosted up.
I assume they're in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they've started doing their own protests. It's super dope.
After the show, shoot me a list of those, Misty, and I'll throw a page up on Slow News Day's site.
Yeah, there's a bunch of little new ones. I need to go back through and like make a list, like, because they kind of just started sprouting up, like, and I'm like, oh, like it was kind of like I'm a little like I don't know why, but I'm a little bit surprised. Like it's dope. So yeah,
people are getting it.
I know. I'm excited though. That makes me excited because for a long time it felt like it's like screaming.
And the thread I ended up writing up today, I'd seen 2 people I followed in the last week that I didn't want to like single out, but posting these half good faith, half kind of shit talking, like, I don't get all these people's obsession with Julian Assange. Awfully suspicious that you're really worried about a white man right now. And like my instinct used to be with stuff that made me mad, I was like, mute it or ignore it or whatever. But I was like, this is someone that I at least need to put in the effort. And if they follow me and they're going to see this, I'm going to write up something just for anyone that might be wondering why we give so much of a shit. Again, here's a quick six post
thread
matter, about Jesse.
It doesn't matter. I've explained it. Like people say that I'm upset or like I worship Julian Assange or I'm obsessed with Julian Assange. I have on numerous occasions said that this is bigger than Assange. He is just the focal point.
He's just connected to everything. He's at the heart of every.
He's the person being used as the example. So yes, that's where the fight is.
Yep.
But it's not about that. I mean, yes, his life is worth saving. Like, it's so ridiculous that I have to explain this to grown ass adults.
Yeah.
Yes, his life is worth saving. He didn't do anything wrong. He did a service to humanity by exposing war crimes. Why anybody would be against that is completely beyond my comprehension. So yes, it is about saving his life because that's a worthwhile effort in and of itself, but it is so much bigger than just Julian Assange. And it doesn't matter, Jesse. You can good faith try to talk to them and explain that to them as many times as you want. It does not matter. They will twist your words. They will find tweets that they can take out of context and twist to their like weird deranged narrative. And they will pretend that you said things that you didn't say. And they'll have complaints about people that you tweet to.
And then suddenly you're a Nazi sympathizer. Right?
Yes, it doesn't matter. It's none of them act in good faith whatsoever. They are there to manufacture outrage. That's it. So
yeah,
it's not, like a good effort, and there are a lot of people who might be swayed by your thread, but the people you directed it at, doesn't matter how many times you say it.
Well, that's why I didn't tag them. That's why I'm going to put out the post, and if you see it, you see it.
Don't.
I feel like it's worth being said, at least once.
For sure.
No,
there are people that you will reach with that. I mean, they try to say that tweeting about Assange doesn't matter. Bullshit. Do you have any idea? And like, I'm not trying to like pat myself on the back here, but I know that I have reached out to people and changed people's minds and have inspired them to get active. And I'm like, I hate to have to say that about myself, but it's fucking true. So just knock it off. Like, you're discouraging activism, and that's gross. Like, just because you don't like me, grow up.
Yeah. And I've brought up the example of my parents before, who are Republican. They vote Republican. They voted for Trump both times. And I was living with my folks for about 2 years. And over that time, I would have conversations with them about Julian Assange. And at first they were like, just repeating the standard talking points. Like, he's a sexual assailant and committed treason, and all this stuff. And then, all that stuff we're familiar with. And then but I just kept talking to them, not like bullying them into conversations, but just when it would be like germane to whatever we were talking about. And now they fully get it. They see
That's so awesome.
like what the injustice is. And, they're still, I mean, I don't know how much they're really Republican, but that's what they consistently vote. But the point being is that I was able to have like an ongoing conversation with them about Assange, and they change
really
their minds. And they see they see the complete injustice.
Once people are exposed to like what's really happening in this case, it's a no-brainer. I mean, it doesn't even matter if you do think that he's a rapist. Has nothing to do with what he's being charged with. And what he's being charged with is dangerous to the rest of us. It changes the game as far as the First Amendment goes. It criminalizes investigative journalism. It is, I mean, I know that sounds dramatic, but it really is like a turning point. He'll be the first journalist or publisher who's like prosecuted under the Espionage Act. That changes the game, period. It's that important. And so, it's not about him. This is, and you can dislike him, you can hate him, you can think he's a rapist. If you want to advocate for Sweden to pursue those charges or for whatever, he has volunteered to participate in that process. He, I know that people say that he like hid in the embassy to evade. That's not true. He stayed in Sweden. He asked permission to leave Sweden before he did leave Sweden. And then he ended up in the embassy, really through no real fault of his own. And then even then, he offered on numerous times for Sweden to come to the Ecuadorian embassy and interview him there, and he was willing to fully participate in the process. So despite what you've been told, that's bullshit. It's propaganda. Go and look for the facts, and you will see very clearly that this dude is getting railroaded, period. I mean, look at what he's exposed. You're surprised that these people want to destroy him? Exactly. Come on. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. So absurd.
But I think that sort of the evil genius of what the US and the UK are doing is that they're focusing on him, one man, and that makes what we've been talking about,
it puts everything off to the wayside. Yeah,
seem smaller in scale than it actually is.
For sure.
Whereas if
and it's about him. It's not about what they're actually doing.
Right.
They've made it about a personality instead of the fact that they are destroying the First Amendment in broad daylight.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas if
it's now become about this caricature that they've created out of this man, and they dehumanized him to the point where people just don't care, and so they're able to do what they're doing to him, and people will cheer it on despite the fact that it is like that's coming for you. Like, do you think that they're going to do it to him and then stop?
Right.
Or do you think that they're going to use these tactics on everybody? Do you think they're going to start spying on literally everybody who has a court case? Because they spied on him in the embassy. This is the treatment that you are, complicit in making possible by cheering it on when it's happening to Julian Assange. And they've managed to make you hate him so that you'll do so. And it's crazy. You're, being slow walked into your own demise and like waving your pom-poms as you go.
Yeah.
And it's weird.
Yeah. And again, speaking to the point of like, well, it's just one guy. Okay, you can say that, but like what we're talking about here is it's fucking life or death. You look at the collateral murder video, you look at the cables that WikiLeaks has put out.
Yeah.
The torture documents. I mean, this, like, we're talking about people's lives here, people being tortured to death, people being just slaughtered in broad daylight by trigger happy helicopter pilots.
And that's just what we know about.
Exactly.
Imagine what we don't know about. And this is what's terrifying. If we shut down like a WikiLeaks, if we shut down the ability to expose those kinds of crimes, do you have any idea what they will then start getting away with? Do you trust the people in power to have that kind of control and complete control over the narrative too?
Yep.
That you will not, there's no dissent, there's no ability for you to hold anybody accountable. That's what you're cheering on when you cheer on the demise of Julian Assange.
Yeah.
It's not about him, fuckwads. It's not. Like, please pay attention. It's not about him. You have to start. This is on us. Like, this is coming for all of us.
Yep.
I mean, really, it's not hard. And there are a lot of like otherwise intelligent human beings who are not seeing the forest through the trees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. They're oblivious to what's happening right now.
Real quick, I'm going to refill my water. I will be right back.
Okay. I think unfortunately, it's one of those things that, a lot of people, maybe the majority of people, aren't going to realize or take seriously until it's at their doorstep, Yeah. Because even as, the activists we are, or what activism we try to do to support Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, it's, I still feel so far removed from it, like it's so far away and I can't affect anything, even though I do what I can try to do, donate when I can donate. And I just think that's a huge problem right now, is that, again, it's so far away from so much of the West's periphery, And
that's by design, though. That's what I mean. We're being slow walked into our own demise. Like they've convinced us that this is a good thing. They've completely controlled the narrative to the point where we're now cheering on the destruction of our own rights, and our own civil liberties, and our own ability to hold power accountable and to know and have access to actual truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very weird to me that anybody would have a problem with what WikiLeaks does. They, again, I've said it a million times. This isn't like, Julian Assange and his opinion, or some talking head and, their speculation about what Putin is doing, or, some conjecture or whatever. It's source documentation. They've never gotten it wrong. Yeah. It genuinely makes journalism a science. It makes it so that it is, you're able to authenticate information. There's no fluff or spin or anything. It's just, here's the facts. You do with this what you will. And then we can all examine it and make educated decisions about what's going on. And to me, that's the best way to hold power to account. And if I had it my way, there would be 1,000 WikiLeaks across the globe. Like in a sane society, first of all, if we even have to have people in power, but if we do, those people should be terrified to step out of line. There should be an accountability system that makes them petrified to even almost be corrupt. That's how it should work. There should be an immense amount of transparency on government, and citizens should have all the privacy in the world. And we have it backwards. And I don't know how to flip it, but that's, that's what WikiLeaks offers. And to me, that's invaluable. I want to know facts. I'm a facts kind of person. I don't want to know what Rachel Maddow thinks. I don't give a shit what Chris Cuomo thinks. These people are paid propagandists. Like, people just need to they're smart enough. People are intelligent. Just give them the facts and let them make educated decisions. If you speak to them like people and just tell them what's happening, I think most people would surprise you and be able to, handle reality. But force feeding them bullshit is sure not working out so good. So how about we try something different? Just seems silly.
How about we try a song? If you got one.
We're gonna do Hyacinth, right?
Let's because the song I got is awfully lighter than this. So
hold on.
Go back to our lowest point before we get to come up for air again. Because then after that, we're going Alyssa Milano diss track.
Yay! We'll end on a light note because that makes me giggle. I love it so much. If you dislike Alyssa Milano, please stick around. You're in for a treat. Okay, I wanted to pull the lyrics up on my big screen so I don't have to look down at my phone.
Who's the boss? Who's the boss was pretty good though. Remember when Tony had the affair with Mona? That was fucking cool. They made out in the
80s
kitchen.
were weird. What a weird time.
Angela Bauer was at work while Tony made out with her mother. That was kind of weird.
What
a weird. That's weird. Yeah. Okay. That's weird.
What is it? Got enough danza?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
come on.
Cabin fever. Looked like a pretty small house.
How did we get here? Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready? I'm gonna.
Are we? I don't know.
I don't know. Are we?
All right.
You're in charge here, homie.
Yeah. Here's Hyacinth. What more you have to give? You don't call, don't write. How is that not to imply that you think what I'm doing must be right? Think that I'm doing all right, and you don't mind giving up your rights. Don't mind seeing your leaders align with the violent right. Don't mind carrying water to pour on the altar where we plan to sacrifice all of your pensions in one of our nameless imperial rights. That renders the rioters silent and pries every rhyme by its root in their heads. That quiets the storm by denying them platforms to buy up some time for the task force crafting a law to detain them and mace them if they try to ask for their water and bread. Mind you, the bread looks like moss off a boulder from all of the mold, and the water is rusted and red. Bitter as all of the blood you hear pounding when you try to block out the sounds as you're lying in bed. Mind you, the bed is a spot on the floor, and there's really no more to be said. You don't call, don't write. If you knew better, there'd be mountains of letters outside, stacked to the sky, blocking the sun out, blocking my drive. You'd slow the flow of my campaign funds down, my reputation in the ground by sundown. Good thing I got MSNBC on my PR rundown. To put you at ease, maybe give you a nice little neolib rubdown. And blare my redemption from Breitbart to Cumtown. Flood all your free speech channels with a bunch of raw shit and shut the pumps down. Then usher out a couple dozen sock accounts to pop up in your mentions with their toxin-stocked and talons out, here to help defend a man's dementia with the passions of a talent scout, selling you their bullshit while they're drooling half a gallon down the hat, they'll pull a rabbit out. Now verbally they'll strap you down, slap you with a finely crafted soundbite from the squad that you could feed your family with, or playback for the officers arriving to evict you in the hopes that they won't snatch you out. But big surprise, their clubs are out and masks are down. Impolitely asking you to pack a little faster now. Just to please the bastard with the fascist tats and badge that makes him think he's someone actually of matter, not an actor playing overseer at the sick behest of benefactors who will starve as many families as it takes to make their profits fatter. And when they tell those loyal cops their kids are on the chopping block to sate their daily greed and need to satisfy their hungry stocks, statistically, 2/5 of these are all too pleased because it just means that they could beat their spouses without all those little weak attempts to make them stop. I was watching TV screaming, make it stop. Screaming at the cable feed of double talk. Screaming at the Daily Razor shaving down our labor laws. Screaming at the left like they could wave a wand and change it all. Screaming at the leaders we gave time and trust and money to who played us all. We the people, tattered rags and paper dolls. Screaming at our debt and at the overfed pigs who created all. Trying to teach the ways of the world to my son like I don't hate it all. Stone soup, cops came and ate it all. Water for the homeless, cops are gonna break them all. Education budget, cops are gonna take it all. Send your kids to prison, think about the time you'll save us all. Years later, you'll be lucky if you're paid at all. Years later, you'll be wired to a grid that turns your brain's electric current to a resource they can strip, and we'll all be mining Bitcoin 80 hours at a clip. Too tired for the drive home, it ain't worth the trip, because it hurts to be reminded that you never see your kid. And every time they fire up the hub and plug you in, their memory recedes a little further till it blurs into the dim, till you can't recall your kin. Open up your eyes and you see Tesla on your skin. Earn a dime a day and owe them 20 for the mandatory membership to Tesla Gym. Well, we're all one big happy family who neutralized your family at the gates when they tried to sneak a message in. And taunts you with escape in our advertising messaging. Taunts you with the sounds of a child at play, a warm summer day, the things we can all sense slipping away because their frequency is lessening. You are working for a living in which you are only visiting, working under safety laws that profit ends up pivoting, shifting into figures in which losing you is just the cost of maximizing profit in the world that we do business in. The world in which we fight to see the bright side but always get the business end. And I've been here and wait since late 08 to witness this descent. Suck my soul away in little bits, a dime a day, but with a monthly cap of 50 cents. Because Tesla-funded studies show that overpaid employees don't know what to do with all the extra money because they're lazy and they're ignorant. But all that extra capital keeps innovation radical, and you can say that you were part of history in the making in the unacknowledged, patronizing, strictly honorary sense. We understand you may resent that Mr. Musk was heaven sent to take you on his back for his divine ascent. And just before he reached the palace gates above the firmament, he dropped you on the outer steps a month before retirement. Again, may we refer you to suggested ways of demonstrating gratitude for Mr. Musk that he was kind enough to let you feed his great Leviathan. Tesla-funded studies show that you amount to nothing in the hours you're not wired in. Hours you spend quietly denying that you let them in your head or let them walk potential buyers in. Mind you, all of this a mere month before retirement. Mind you, your retirement is waiting in the dirt that feeds the hyacinth. Or maybe, if you're lucky, you could spend another year assisting researchers in biosynth. Mind you, that amounts to nothing more than torture, but they wipe your memory after every session, washing out all prior sense. Think of it as Mr. Musk absolving you of prior sins. Don't think of it as skinning you and fitting you with trial limbs. Think of it as Mr. Musk presenting you the opportunity to help America's elite achieve tighter skin, fuller lips, healthy eyes, smoother lids. Don't think of it as rape. Try to think of it as Mr. Musk assigning you a mate because America needs cattle. I mean kids. Don't ask yourself what Mr. Musk can do for you. Ask yourself if there is something more you have to give. Ask yourself what more you have to give. Ask yourself what more you have to give. Ask yourself what more you have to give. That's Hyacinth.
Right on. I think the ending lines, the ending. I don't know what the stanza form is, but ask yourself what you have to give is. I just find that really powerful because it's like, I mean, everything that's put in our face is like we owe them, the people in power, something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you have to give us something.
Exactly.
No,
It's
listen,
constantly
And that's why I
about-
did that line. I did that line 3 times at the end because there are 3 different ways I could immediately hear that. One being them asking you, honestly, ask yourself, what more can you give us? Anything more? You know, do you have anything more to contribute as an American? Then they ask yourself, what more do you really have to give? And ask yourself, what more you fucking have to do? You know, the 3 ways I could take that. And then once I thought of doing that 3 lines, that's one of the most solid moments I've had. That's how I end this. Like very few endings jump out and slap you in the face like that. And that one, when it happened, I was like, okay, I can finally stop
need to talk about
have a good cry now.
Listen, we need to talk about you are working for a living in which you are only visiting.
Yeah. If I make t-shirts, that would be the t-shirt. If I could have one slogan, I think that's my...
That is such a powerful line because that is what is happening. You are working for a living in which you're only visiting. Like they are grinding you down. That's not what you're here for. Really? Do you really think that again, I know I say this all the time, United States of America, the year 2021, do you really think that they need you to grind yourself into the ground and not be able to enjoy any aspect of your life? You can't see your kids. You can't, just relax. People can't even just relax. You're a cog in a machine to them. And that's not the way it has to be. Like I mean, you're going to have to be willing to like stand up and fight for better, but it doesn't have to be that way. And we really are just being, it's really bad.
And I think I kind of surprised myself with that because once I started going in that kind of dystopian futuristic Tesla direction, I was a little surprised myself at how none of it seemed that far out of the realm of possibility. None of it feels like, no matter how far in the future I felt like I was going, it feels like that could be next month's, Tesla bullshit.
Look at what's happening.
And that's
right now. Look what's happening. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We're in the middle, we're a year into a pandemic and they want to give some of you $1,400.
Yeah.
And it's bizarre that people are just accepting this. Like it's okay. Like that's an thing. And
you get $9,000 if you're dead.
Right?
I was about to say that coffee money, man. That's good stuff.
For all. We can't get Medicare for all, but we can get funerals for some. We can get funerals for some.
Yeah.
But we can't have Medicare for all. That's really that's a slap in the face to me. Like that's offensive that's what she spent her time on. That's offensive.
Yeah, that's something that AOC and Chuck Schumer, who are just like 2 of the
I wonder how much stock Chuck owns in funeral homes.
I don't know.
The slimiest tadpoles in U.S. government.
Yeah,
they're proud that they put this together.
I don't remember.
Hey, if somebody died in your family from COVID, we're not sorry, but here's $9,000.
Maybe.
Who comes up?
Who comes up with that figure?
Why can't it apply to maybe get that money? See if we'll give you that or not.
You got to pay for it up front, and then you can apply to be reimbursed, but you might not be.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you just go to $10,000? $9,000? That's a fucking.
Why wouldn't you just pay for the whole fucking funeral?
There's a book I can't recommend enough by a woman named Mary Roach, who's a great writer. It's called Stiff, and it's every different topic that could come out of what happens to you after you die, from decomposition to the history of medical experiments on cadavers, just all these interesting things. And she's a fantastic writer.
Yeah, I've heard about this book. I haven't read it.
There's a chapter on it about airplane safety and how that came to be, and vehicle safety and how they slowly implemented safety measures. And they mentioned that, and I want to say this was around maybe 2002 that the study was done, where the Transportation Safety Board has a figure they assign to the value of a human life. And when they're trying to implement, let's say, do we put, new seatbelts on these planes? They do the cost of the seatbelts and the cost of all the stuff versus how many lives they would save if it could make an improvement. And that's how they get their math. And I think the average, what they determined, the value of a human life in terms of lost profit from a bad PR blow of someone dying was in the $200,000 range. It didn't break $300,000. And that's how they made these equations. That's how they figured out whether it's worth it for them and profitable to put something in. Would it save enough lives for the cost? And I just love that there are people whose job it was to determine, well, what's the real value of someone dying from this? What's the real value of saving a life for us, for our pockets, for our bottom line?
Gross.
And that's politicians to a T. That's being able to take a look at something and go, not how many lives can we save? Not, well, I don't want to.
Is it really
money,
worth it?
How much money can we save and still save a few lives? So we did something, but we didn't do nearly enough. That's where your, cutting child poverty in half kind of shit comes from. That's well, acting like they're doing some kind of fucking favor when they're just cutting corners and, doing the bare minimum for you. It's
and the finance industry propels that, especially the accounting industry, when you have, when you're talking about actuaries, for example, whose job it is essentially to determine like risk reward with regard to things like you were just talking about. And they come up with these arbitrary figures that always benefit.
Well, that's health insurance. Like, is it really worth letting you have this surgery, or would you say fuck it?
Everybody gets to determine the value of our lives except for us. That's a big problem.
Well, and it's really creepy because it's like this weird like eugenicist, like it really borders on that. I mean, listen, I have a kid who's autistic, and when coronavirus first started popping up, like there were articles where they were talking about like not treating people who had developmental disabilities, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Are we really having this conversation? But it does, like, stuff like that pops up all the time, and it's something that doesn't get talked about. Like the disabled community has to deal with that shit constantly, and nobody talks about it. And
I can't imagine how terrifying it is going through this.
Right?
I mean,
can you imagine
not knowing if they would actually make an effort if you end up in the hospital? I can't imagine.
Or like a lot of them were having trouble getting access to the vaccine.
That's people of color doing this too. I mean, that's it's just another one of those kind of privileges people might not acknowledge or realize, until you think about someone else having to weigh the safety of going to a hospital right now,
Well, once you're there, they have to treat you or have to take you in.
They do. It's just how decent of treatment they give you. I mean, there were a few, I remember especially early in the pandemic, a few different nurses that had made videos that I'm sure would be very difficult to find now, where they were talking about a disproportionate level of care between Black and white patients.
Oh, of course.
And that's always existed in the healthcare industry. Down to people saying, well, call us if your lips turn blue. Like, my fucking lips aren't going to turn blue. If I'm Black, my lips aren't going to turn blue, And so that kind of medicine that people are used to applying only to white people, because modern medicine only cares about white people. That's a fucking problem, Again, you want to talk about everything having bigotry ingrained in it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. People try to say that there is an institutional racism, and in the medical field alone proves that
anything that was developed in that earlier time when it was thick around us is why it's still thick around us, because it's carried on with all of our institutions, our laws, our policing, everything,
Yeah, and if you don't believe it, go to where people are most vulnerable. Go to where I've been. I had to take a friend there, unfortunately, for treatment, but Bellevue Hospital in Manhattan, if you go to the psych ward there, you'll see some of the worst treatment by police and security guards toward human beings that I've ever seen. Kicking patients awake. You name it. And it's just it's
undeniable. I don't know why. I don't know why it's like a thing that people try to. But ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
So they tell me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I sometimes wish I could go back.
Don't go to Bellevue.
I'm doing my best.
Seriously, don't.
This early on watching celebrities I either liked at one point or were indifferent to all kind of hop on the shitlib train was funny for some people, crushing for others. A couple people I still think I blocked out their tweets because I just didn't want to believe it. JPEG Mafia. But this one, I never liked Alyssa Milano to begin with. I always found her disingenuous, and then I saw how disingenuous she could actually be.
Wait, I gotta pull up the lyrics for this because this is fun for me. I like this one a lot because I really dislike her.
And not to call her out, but shout out to Rose McGowan for messaging me about this song because that was a really nice little something to get from her. But yeah, this watching her turn on not just Tara Reid, but the movement, turn on everything that she pretended to advocate so much for.
Well, she like co-opted it and then ruined it.
I obviously wanted to do a song, and
there it is.
I decided, okay, I'm going to go to her IMDb and find a movie to reference, something to kind of dog her out about having been in. I scrolled down a little bit and saw Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2, and I was like, I'm not even going to look at the rest of the list. That's gold. If I pass that by, I'm an idiot. Like, this is absolutely the one I'm dropping. So that was my opening line.
Wait. There's a sequel?
There is Beverly. Oh my gosh, we should live stream it one day. We should all just watch Beverly Hills.
We should. Dude, I don't know if I can handle an hour and a half of Milano.
My daughter watched them stupid movies when she was little. They're so dumb.
Really?
Oh my god, they're so dumb.
Sleepy Josh, I'm so sorry.
It hurts my soul thinking about it.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude. My kids never watched it. Hallelujah.
Wait,
don't ever tell them it exists, please. Nobody.
There's a sequel?
There's a sequel, homie.
There's 2 or 3 of them.
Stop.
Oh, really? Oh, geez.
There's a third.
I didn't need to know that.
I think so.
Well, I don't know. 2 was straight to
I don't
video.
remember. I thought there was.
I know what I'm doing this weekend.
Homie, you need to no. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself.
Oh,
I mean, or maybe if you get really high, it'll be awesome. Who
4.
And this,
There's 4.
No,
Swear to God.
4 of Jesus Christ.
There's 4.
4.
There's
Oh man.
4.
Sorry to interrupt.
I smell a local film festival is what I smell.
In the park.
Back to back.
Yeah, that'll be good. We can have like a whole weekend. You can do 2 one night, like a double header. Yeah, like 2 one night, 2 the next night.
Oh my god.
There you go.
Do they have subtitles? Like is it like
so.
blah 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 3 like
Yes, Lee, can you bring that back up for us, please? Inquiring minds want to know.
The 4th one is Summer Vacation.
Oh, ooh la la.
Summer vacation.
Very nice.
Exotic.
Dude, the racial like stereotypes in that one are real bad, man. The whole damn series, it's just terrible.
Oh boy, I may have to go. Okay, I may have to get really high and try to watch these.
It's watchable if you're real high.
Okay,
find the racial stereotype moments and tag Alyssa Milano like this.
This could be fun. How long till I get?
What's better than digging through old tweets, digging through your B movies?
What's the franchise called again? What's
Beverly Hills Chihuahua?
Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
Oh yeah.
Just talked yourself out of it, didn't you?
I think these kind of came out of like, what didn't Paris Hilton or somebody have like a bunch of Chihuahuas or something, and she like made them super popular. I think this is like the same time, maybe. Yeah, I remember. I kind of remember that.
She had like a whole summer where like all she did was walk down Melrose holding her Chihuahuas,
saying that's hot.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the South Park where her Chihuahua killed itself? It had little boots on and shit. Really? Yeah, dude, it was rough. It's rough.
Oh my god!
Watch that one. It's great.
Damn.
That's horrible.
Wait, it actually killed itself?
Yeah, like she's like, got another one.
She said, "I got another one."
Something like that. It's dude. The episode's wrong, but I highly recommend it.
Okay. All right.
What's she up to now?
Who knows? I don't know.
What if she's like a very like staunch like anti-drone activist or something. Like,
maybe
she's doing something good. I doubt it.
I do think it's funny though when we try to do tweet storms and people are like, tweet at celebrities, and then like the only celebrities I can think of are from like the late 90s, early 2000s, because that's when I stopped really giving a shit about celebrities. That's all I get. Like Brittany Murphy, oh shit, she's not even here anymore. You know
Mark Paul Gosselaar.
Yep.
That's who I think of. Or like Nathan Fillion from like Castle and Buffy, or like Sarah Michelle Gellar. Those are the people I think of. It's so bad. I'm so terrible at like somebody else do the celebrities. I can't.
James Vanderbeek. He seems like a chill dude. I think he'd be down with it.
He does actually seem like a chill dude.
His appearance on Eric Andre's show is absolutely worth watching.
He's
so
really
funny.
he's actually really funny. Like he has a really good sense of humor. Like that show, What Would Diplo Do or whatever. Like that was pretty funny. Actually, it was really like satire. It was pretty good.
Yeah,
I didn't see it all, but I saw like some clips and stuff, and it looked pretty good. Yeah, I think
this was a song I always thought was going to get
with Dawson
early on, but I think I only had like 300 followers, maybe 400 followers when I wrote this song.
Well, let's see. Let's put it out there again.
Some, but yeah, let's see if I can't get that cease and desist letter.
See if we can get you in trouble.
Enough James Vanderbeek.
Hang out with me enough, there will be trouble.
This is Complicit Milano for the first time acoustic. What to do now that all that Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2 money ran out, and that wave you rode from Me Too didn't pan out? Who knew you could shrink your spine down and shift in your seat and just switch where you stand now? And I'm sure it's all worth it for your big fat handout. Just don't get caught around Joe with his hands out, eyes elsewhere, tongue out, pants down, cause you chose to take the word of one man who gladly held civil rights ransom over countless women who have been touched and sniffed and grabbed and whispered to on camera, not to mention one staffer who found herself out of a job when she wouldn't accept his advances. Not that it stopped him from forcing his hand, cause he was a powerful man and he assumed that she thought he was handsome. Now what was it you said about giving victims their chances? About trusting the courage of those who would speak in the face of such monstrous detractors? About trusting the stories of women abused in a system that sees them as actors? See, Alyssa, an actor is someone who's paid to portray different characters. Sometimes dramatic, comedic, absurdist, or sometimes a rape defense strategist. So based on the size of this check, is the payoff exceeding all your averages? I guess it would have to be. Look at all the people that you're taking advantage of. I don't think anyone decent could sleep in the night, knowing they sold out sex abuse victims months after standing with them. Months after saying that we need to embrace their decisions to speak and not be surprised when people just believe what they read, find themselves quickly misled, find themselves saying that they don't believe. Now, just how much money to make up a loophole where you could save face while betraying your scruples? Just how much money to trample your morals and peddle a possible pedophile with a straight face like you're loyal? Warren's just a garden snake, Alyssa is a cobra in the soil. From the venom in her mouthpiece straight through the cold blood coursing through her coils. And I hope that she hears this and somehow it gets to her more than the rest and that she positively boils. So if you see her spitting venom, man, you can't blame a desperate snake trying to sell a little oil. Times are tough and time is up for senators and royals. So ignore all the Epstein connections and inner circle yacht parties held by your employers. Alyssa says it's fine, and you should say it's fine, or she might call her lawyer. And I would hang that cease and desist on the wall like a trophy of war, a piece of a country I entered unseen and I left its destroyer. Cause it's a victory to me if I'm up under your skin and you're reaching for the pliers. So pretend I'm some voyeur and show me the fire. Once for the record, Alyssa Milano, I've called you an overpaid liar.
Hell yeah. That's for you, Alyssa.
Hold on. Can I just say that I love the fact both times now I've tried to talk when I've been muted. But let me just tell you that the fact that you explained to her what an actor is
I thought, okay, midway through I was like, what's a good, like, you know, without being ugly, how do you really get someone like that? And I was like, oh, I could mansplain what an actor is to an actor. That's perfect. That was such a great eureka moment. I was like, oh, I have to.
It's so good. It's like
sometimes a rape defense strategist. Very few times I read my own line after I write it and then I have to jump around. That was one of those moments I was like, fuck yeah.
Yes. Yes, but listen, what she did is gross, you guys. Like,
for sure.
You know who Joe Biden is? Like,
yep.
I'm sorry, I don't know. You cannot be a human being in this world and look at the videos of him with little girls and not be seriously disturbed. I mean, I have little girls. I was a little girl. I was that little girl.
The Facebook system goes, oh, wait, this is inappropriate. Like, you're damn sure it is. You're absolutely right.
But, like, I mean, most little girls have an experience like that. Like, it's, I mean, that's a sad fact. Like, most little girls have at least one experience like that. Usually it's more. Men, especially men of power, like, think that they can do whatever the fuck they want, and they will. And he's, like, inappropriately touching them in front of their parents on camera. He thinks he's untouchable because he is, and he shouldn't be. That's gross. That's I mean, I don't know. Like, to me, that's beyond like a certain level of acceptability. Like, that's, I don't know if it like crosses the line into criminality, but to me, that's a huge physical violation of a child.
Yeah,
you don't get to do that.
Well, I mean, you can see it on their face. Even a young kid, they know when their boundaries are being broken. You know,
look at the uncomfortable looks on all of their faces. They even like the babies even know. And we're talking babies. Like it's not okay the way that he behaves with children. Like, it's just not. I don't know how any human being can look at his behavior with kids and think that that's acceptable. And then the way that they allow him to just explain it away is just really bizarre to me. I don't care how cool and powerful you think you are, but these people are, again, they're psychopaths.
Yeah.
Like, that's just
do you
the way
remember
that
when he started to be called out about that? And I don't know what the hell it was, if it was like a campaign event or something, but he
joked about it.
Yeah, remember he had like a little boy come over to him and he was like, just so you know,
ask you permission.
He gave me permission to touch him, and it was just like
so creepy.
That's
not so creepy.
Yeah, that's not funny. That's
that's the Michelle Bachmann. I think it was Michelle Bachmann. No, it was Christine something. I'm not a witch. Like, that's that's Joe Biden saying, I'm not a pedophile. Like, that's basically what that is.
Yeah.
And the fact that Alyssa Milano would push that man on the country after proclaiming to be, I mean, she was out when the Kavanaugh hearing, she was there crying, holding up her sign, believe all women. But then there's tweets of hers where she's saying, I love you, Bill Clinton, like, a lot. Like, I have screenshots of them. And then and Bill Clinton, really? He's a notorious creep, like slime ball. And she really, you could not be more of a hypocrite. What a hypocrite.
Criminal.
Oh, the hypocrisy of Alyssa Milano is beyond disgusting.
Bill Clinton is one of the most atrocious presidents this country has ever had.
He's an atrocious human being. And the fact that she like pretends like he's okay, but Brett Kavanaugh's not somehow. Really?
Yeah, I mean,
consistency, please.
I don't know, like, how much Ambien she takes, but obviously
that is a very popular drug of choice in Hollywood, I've heard.
Yeah, it's obviously affecting her political acuteness. So.
No, I don't think so. I think she's always been kind of awful, like shit lib. Like, she is the shit lib. And I mean, her husband like is a partner or like an agent with CAA, isn't he? Like, he's got connections. Yeah, I mean, it's like a whole incestuous thing. It's really gross. It's like a Hollywood DC slime bucket, and yeah, it's pretty gross.
And it's also like Alyssa Milano. Like, what is she ever gonna do again that anybody's gonna care about? You know, like
nothing.
Like a straight to VHS movie.
She might host another like weird fashion show or something. Like I think she did Project Runway or something.
Hey, there could always there's always room for a Beverly Hills Chihuahua 5. I'm just saying.
Right? There's still hope for that. There's hope for that. Let's find a director who's desperate. And
so you know what? If you don't mind, I'm gonna sneak in one more song that.
Yeah,
let's do that, and then let's let Sleepy go because he's been working for a while.
Yeah.
This it popped in my head the other day. I don't have this on an album yet. This is going to go on a collection of just kind of.
What is it?
Oddities. It's called Yes You. This
it's not on an album?
Okay. No, you know what? It is on YouTube still.
Our lyrics though? All I need is lyrics. I don't have to have them. It just makes it easier for me.
No, this is definitely the one that it's good to have lyrics for. Let me send you the lyrics for
all
this.
of them are because for whatever reason that helps my brain.
But this is a song that I didn't end up putting it on inauguration gift, and I probably should have.
I'm excited.
But I've wanted to do just a little EP of just kind of some odds and ends, some things that aren't super political that I've written, like Airplane Mode and a few other songs like that. But here we go.
Miss Tree said, we're probably glad that Kim Kardashian's now a billionaire. Yeah, I'm thrilled. I'm so thrilled, Tree. I really am.
I'll sleep a lot better tonight for sure.
Yeah, it's really making my day.
So here are the lyrics to Yes You, which
you sent on Twitter. Did you send them on Twitter? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I sure did.
Okay.
Jesse, I wanted to ask you earlier, and it slipped my mind, but which usually comes first for you, the lyrics or?
You did ask.
Oh, I did ask.
It depends. It switches up so much.
I think you got several times.
It's totally song to song. I couldn't tell you. So the answer changes periodically.
Did I ask that?
You have asked that many times, actually.
Okay.
I think at least 3, right, Jesse? Other Jesse? I'm pretty sure it's been at least 3 times.
This is number 3, I think. It's a good question. I mean, a good question never stops being a good question.
I'm gonna start like a chart.
I'm on a new medication, so forgive me.
I'm still riding out the after effects of Johnson & Johnson's vaccine, so we'll see.
I get it. Like Jesse also does the one more thing, or before we wrap, and it makes me giggle every time. It's like Andrew's jazz hands.
It's your Columbo moment. You go, one more thing.
Yeah, it's Andrew's jazz
real
hands.
quick. My wife loves you.
I love that shit. It makes me laugh. All right, are you ready? I'm gonna.
I think I'm ready. I've never played this acoustic. I just tried to figure out chords while we were talking.
Okay, good.
But yeah, this is one of those songs that I was just writing a lot and then didn't think about for a while, and then I came back to it and I was like, I should do more with this. I really, especially lyrically, I'm happy with this a lot. So yeah, here's Yes You. Love, I only want to help you, so I won't lie to protect you. All the same people that defend you would beat you bloody if your ends do. Yes, you. Love, I only want to help you, so I won't lie to protect you. All the same people that defend you would beat you bloody if your ends do. Yes, you. I guess you didn't hear. Maybe all our signs weren't clear. Maybe someone went to tell you and got disappeared. So keep your voice down, cause our phones have ears. I'll act surprised when you spout what I've told you for years. Upstream against a steady flow of smears. For being just another fringe theorist. Those conspiracies will hit a little closer to your home after Cuomo shields the home where you housed mommy dearest. This negligence is par for their care, and they're not gonna be there for the court appearance. Cause they've been granted carte blanche and a full clearance. Immunity from scrutiny and legal repercussions if they knowingly infect your parents. And knowing what I know now, I can't say it's fair, but I can say it's pretty damn American. Love, I only wanna help you, so I won't lie to protect you. But all the same people that defend you would beat you bloody if your ends do, yes you. Love, I only wanna help you, so I won't lie to protect you. Well, all those same people that defend you would beat you bloody if your ends do, yes you, yes you, yes you, yes you, yes you. Find yourself the target of the ruling class, the oligarchs, CEOs, plutocrats. You could be the dude beneath the overpass, face down, sucking on a canister of chlorine gas, while seated on your back is a faceless white fascist in a mask, taking orders cause he's just a clueless ass, can't think for himself but he relishes the task. And we groom young men to be that, an army of kids who were told not to cry by emotionally walled off dads. And you will find no better candidate to bludgeon with abandonment and gas. Press medics, women, children, old veterans, and anyone that threatens the establishment. Then their bloodlust wears off, the Kevlar tears off. They look at their reflections and they're shifted to imbalances. We do a damn good job of tuning men to war's ravages. But once we finally break them, we don't have a plan to save them, so they end up in a tent camp living with the rest of the collateral damages. They don't get the glory or the honor of our wasted sons and daughters lining Arlington like rows of fucking cabbages. This is how you normalize sacrifice. This is how you weaponize a nationalist. This is how you teach a man to break a spine just to fix your bottom line or polish up your averages. All the stones in Arlington are seeds that were sown by the capitalists. I only want to help you, so I won't lie to protect you. See, all the same people that defend you beat you bloody if your ends do, yes you.
So good. And okay, the part guess you didn't hear. Maybe all our signs weren't clear. Maybe someone went to tell you and got disappeared. Keep your voice down because our phones have ears, and I'll act surprised when you spout what I've told you for years. That reminds me of Steve Poikonen. Reminds me of Steve Poikonen. Oh yeah, I've been saying that for years. Why didn't you listen to me? Yep. That totally reminded me of Steve Poikonen. I love you, Steve. It was funny.
I dig the yes you refrain toward the end, and I suppose it's in other parts of the song.
Yeah, in the full version that actually echoes and repeats and kind of splices in. Anywhere I say yes you in the spoken lyrics, it's the sung part that kind of gets spliced in. But
yeah, I think in the context of the song, in the context of the politics of the song, I think it's a very simple statement, but a very powerful statement because you know,
there's so many blue checks that think it's just never going to happen to them. That's, I mean, so many people, period. But it's usually those kind of the blue checks that are have that kind of obstinate, like that's just some.
They think they're untouchable.
That isn't in their sphere of
like they have permanent immunity.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of them do. I mean, like you talk about Cuomo.
That's true. There is,
And what has happened to him? I mean, how many deaths has he been proven to be responsible for and then lied about?
And what's crazy is, I mean, that was from, God, when did I write that? That was right after the virus. So that was about a year ago. That was about June or July of last year that I wrote that. So Cuomo's big nursing home scandal, it was obvious when you looked at what was going on. We all knew it's like, oh, they're just funneling all these people into nursing homes.
Everybody called it conspiracy.
You know, exactly. And now here we are. And Cuomo's not going to face any fucking, he's already kind of shaken.
No, it's already like yesterday's news. Nobody's talking about that.
Exactly.
Like it's moved on.
That's what politicians can count on now, is that there's so much worse shit happening the next day that you'll probably get forgotten about unless it was really heinous.
Even if it's pretty bad, it may only take like a couple news cycles before you're out. Like it's moving on to something else. I mean, you just got to hang in there.
People are still talking about it, but it's not with the fervent anger they were talking about it a few days ago.
There'll be like a couple update stories.
They'll dilute it and dilute it,
yeah.
and it's just You
just gotta white knuckle it through like the first couple weeks, and then you're good. People will move on. You just got to get yourself like a cleanup agent, a good PR agent, push out some decent stories, and you're solid. You don't have nothing to worry about.
I saw some headline the other day, like, what did Cuomo really know? Like, as if he was in the fucking dark about it. Like,
Yep. He was just a patsy. He was just the governor. There was,
Yeah. He didn't have any say,
I also love the part, an army of kids who were told not to cry by emotionally walled off dads. You'll find no better candidate to bludgeon with abandonment and gas press medics, women, children, old veterans, or anyone that threatens the establishment. Because that's so true.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I mean, especially like the way we treat our little boys is really sad to me.
Yeah.
Like you can't cry, don't show emotions, man up, don't be a sissy. Like that all is just really weird to me.
And that's why, for a long time, because I'm, let's just say not the most masculine straight man, that I always felt like I would be like a really good dad for a little girl. And when my wife and I found out we were having a baby, I was so convinced we're going to have a little girl. And then we found out we were having a boy. And I was like, maybe it's important for me to try to raise another man that has.
I had the same thing, but different.
Sensitivity and his compassion, and he is more than, I mean, that was already in him. I didn't have to do much, but he's got the best heart. And it's so reassuring to see. It makes me that much more disgusted with the world that he'll probably have to navigate in by the time he's an adult. But he has such a, I mean, he's definitely in touch with his emotions, and he knows that it doesn't take much from me. Like, I was holding him one day, and I went to put him down. I was like, "God, you're getting heavy." I said, I'm not going to be able to hold you like this for much longer. And he goes, "Oh, is that going to make you sad? Are you sad talking about it?" And I was like, "Shut up! Don't run!"
Yeah.
He just twists it.
But I'm the opposite. Like, I had the same problem, but opposite. When I found out I was going to have a baby, I was like, I really wanted a boy because I'm like a tomboy. I was an athlete. I wanted to play sport. Like, and these are all like really stupid gender stereotypes. I realize that, you guys, I really do. But I just always thought of myself as like being a mom to a boy. And then I had two girls, and I'm like, oh, but I'm really glad that I did. Like, I was, I mean, I wasn't super, like, people always try to say, oh, I don't care as long as it's healthy. I cared a little bit. I'm like not ashamed to be honest about it. I did care a little bit. I really was kind of hoping to have a boy. Like, I don't feel bad about like being a little bit upset about that. I think it's normal. I think more people should like be open about that. It's okay. You don't have to, like, it's okay. But yeah, so like I just really kind of wanted a little boy. I always pictured myself. I never really wanted to have kids. But then when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, oh man, I would really like to have a little boy. But I'm really glad I had little girls.
And when we had the ultrasound too, I know that sometimes it can be a little hard for them to tell. And we didn't know that this was going to be the one they were going to tell us. And later just blurts out, well, that's a beautiful little boy in there. And I was like, are you sure? I know sometimes it can be a little hard to tell. And she kind of like looked down her glass at me. She was like, that's a penis. I know what I'm looking at. And to be fair, he wasn't hiding it for anyone. He was just kind of hanging upside down. But she was very.
He wanted it to be known.
I know what a penis on a sonogram looks like. Right? Don't you question me.
So I remember I called my dad and I told him, I was like, well, I was right all along. We're having a girl. There's just one thing. She's got this penis. But he is. I'm. It's as terrifying as it is. It's especially now more than ever. I try to gently ease him into what the world is actually going to be, and what sucks. But I'm also so much happier that I'm aware of what I'm aware of, because I can tell him how to actually try to navigate that world and a lot of the things that I wish I would have known a long time ago, And if I have to walk around with half of my usual sanity levels, then so be it. I'll happily.
I 100% agree with you. I wish I would have known.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wish I would have been taught early on.
And the same, not to get back on AOC for a long time, because I know we have to go, but when you talk about Obama and that comparison, I also remember how indifferent I was, to say the least, to people's criticisms of Obama early on when I was a big supporter. I was like, they're just got to come out of the woodwork and slander him. He's the way and the truth. This guy is a fucking brilliant orator. He speaks right to our issues. He knows he's going to fix it. So for someone that sees AOC as that, really does, and they haven't been fucked over as much as we have, I understand that you don't want to see that those cracks show through so quickly, you know.
Mhm.
But
I
I
need
also would
people to
like to
see
think that
that.
the world we're in is so much darker and
Yes,
and
we need
more
people to wake up, like,
brutal
come on.
than it was in 2008, you know.
Mhm.
So I try to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, because I know it's hard to have the sudden shock. Actually, none of them give a shit about you, but none of them give a shit about you. So know that, please.
Yeah, no, and that's true.
We give a shit about you.
Like,
We give a shit about
this
one
is the
another.
crisis situation. People are dying, and it's like really bad. It's getting worse, and I just like, I understand, and yes, I realize that I'm like an asshole and I'm super harsh on people, but we really do need people to
We don't have time.
like recognize reality so that
Yeah.
we can start effectively pushing back, because what we're doing is not working, and so we need to reassess and come together and re-strategize. Because you know, we're running out of time. We're losing our rights. We're gonna lose the ability to do these things soon. So that's why this is like a now or never kind of moment. I know that sounds really dramatic, but that's
no, I mean, it is though. We've had an awful lot of time to fuck around, and we don't have time to fuck around anymore. You know?
Yeah, I mean, there are like anti-protest bills. There's one in Ohio right now, an anti-protest bill in Ohio right now.
Yep.
Right now, it's in the House.
Well, even the ones that are cooking up, they're like, you can't taunt a police officer.
Like, in Kentucky, you can't make fun of a police officer. I mean, this is
how
where
am
we're
I
headed.
supposed to achieve an erection if I can't make fun of a police officer?
What does that mean?
Good thing we already had our turn.
That was great. Okay, but we really should probably go, because Sleepy Josh has been working really hard today. We love you, Sleepy
again,
Josh.
thank you, especially right now, man. When I write something like Hyacinth and shit, to be able to get that out this quickly, it means the world. I owe you.
Yeah, we love that you do it. Like, I'm always down. Like, I love your stuff. So, and I think other people do too. I'm always down to have you on. I love musicians. Like, if you're a musician, send me your shit. If I like it, I love music. Like, let's hook up. Let's do
one day we'll do a day where I'll come on and we'll like play some covers and just have an actual fun day.
I'd love to like do like an online indie concert. Like, let's have a whole bunch of people on, like play some cool protest music and just hang out and jam, and like we can all get high together, and you know, like let's have some fun. Like, the world sucks. Have some fucking fun every once in a while, you know? It'd be cool. See, there you go. That's the spirit.
And I'm off.
Okay, so yeah, Jesse, you can find Jesse on Twitter at Jesse_Jett. Please go to Bandcamp to support his work. I know he always says that, and he also has the codes if you you know,
free music, just DM me and I'll give you albums.
Yeah, which is cool. That way you can still enjoy the music. But if you can afford to support his work financially, please do so. I mean, just go to Bandcamp. Bandcamp is probably the best one, I think. I mean, it's is there anything else I'm forgetting other than your Twitter and Bandcamp? I know you're on Spotify too, right? So they're not as cool though.
Purchase his latest record.
Yeah, it's worth it. It really is. Yeah, it's worth it.
I did it.
For sure.
Thank you.
You can do it too.
I did it. You can do it too. Be like the cool kids.
But seriously, it does. It means so much.
But you'll be very. I'm a
stats nerd, and I love to be able to take a peek and see. Especially Spotify will let you know if someone's listening at that moment.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I once, and I'm sure there are other artists that like, I mean, friends might not follow that have much more focused in Spotify. But I remember a day where I opened it up and it was like 2 different people are listening right now. And it was just 2 people, but it was just such a cool thing, you know, so cool, to know that your stuff is actually out there and like gets to have a little movement of its own without you having to constantly push it is just the best feeling. And
I'm gonna make
especially the fact that it's these
playlist.
songs that are mean so much to me and I feel like are so relevant. It just makes my day. So
cool.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Seriously.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So go support his work. You can find Jesse and I on Twitter. You probably know where. And also support Sleepy Josh. Sleepy Josh has like what is it called? Buy me a coffee. Buy me a coffee. It's in your bio, right?
Yeah, it's at Abort You at Twitter. It's in there.
Okay, yeah. So go to at Abort You on Twitter, just the letter U, not YOU, the letter U. And there's a link in his bio, and like go buy him a cup of coffee for helping out with tech stuff, because he's the tech ninja and we love him.
Thank you.
So totally do that as well. And I don't know. We'll see you next time. We're so bad at this, like ending a live stream thing. It's so awkward.
You hang up. No, you hang up.
Come on, give us some jazz.
I'm like awkward all the time, so just fucking deal with it, okay?
Give me some jazz hands, Misty. Give me some jazz hands.
Everybody.
Mine are better. Mine are fancier. He does them really boring, but they're still cute.
Jazz hands till the end.
Anyway, go get some food or something, Sleepy. We love you. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thanks so much.
Bye.